Good morning guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Shelby and today is Monday, September 23rd and it is the first day of Contemporaryathon. As you saw in my last clip, I drank my coffee this morning. I love French press and lately I've been enjoying mixing the peppermint mocha and French vanilla creamers. So I would highly recommend. Excuse my appearance, this is total mom life. I usually don't get to shower until either Avery naps or if my husband is home for lunch. So this is just keeping it real. Right now, Avery and I are just playing. I don't know if you can see her in the background, but she's having a good old time. And as for what I'm reading, I could not help myself. I started a book last night right before bed, and that is The Wives by Tarryn Fisher. And I was really excited to pick this up because I read another one of her books called I Can Be a Better You a few weeks ago, and I really enjoyed it. So I was really looking forward to reading this one during the readathon. And right now I'm a little over halfway through and loving it. So it is about a woman who we don't know her name, and she is married to a guy named Seth. And we know that he is a polygamist and she is one of his 3 wives. And this wife gets the day Thursday, so he always sees her on Thursday. And he also has 2 other wives that he sees on Mondays and Tuesdays. And so our main character has no idea what their names are and she just refers to them by the day of the week that he sees them. But one day our narrator discovers a receipt in her husband's pocket and it piques her interest to one of the wives. And so she starts looking into who the other wives are and she meets them and learns their names and she definitely becomes invested in their lives. And this is so addicting to read. It is really fast paced. And now that I'm about halfway through, there has been a plot twist and it is really good. I feel like it's a total mind F, just like I Can Be a Better You. So I can't wait to see where Tarryn Fisher takes this story. So for the rest of the morning, I'm just going to play with Avery and hang out and try to finish this book probably by the afternoon. And then once I get a little bit more reading done, I will check in with you later. Avery. Give me the ball. You're being a silly girl. Give me the ball. Uh-oh. Okay, so it's a couple hours later. It's about 11:30 and I just finished The Wives by Tarryn Fisher. And I forgot to mention this in my last clip, but this one is not yet out. This was an e-arc that I had off of NetGalley, and it comes out sometime in December, so it is a 2019 release. It just hasn't been released yet. And this was an extremely fast read. I read a quarter of it last night before I went to bed, and then I breezed through the rest of it this morning, and it is so good. I didn't really know what to expect. I just knew the general premise when I picked it up, and this one kept me on my toes, and I didn't really know where it would take me until the very end, and I was really kept in suspense the whole time. I don't want to go too far into the plot because I think this book is best went into blind, but what I can say is this was a major mind F. It reminded me a lot of I Can Be a Better You in regard to how you don't know who you can trust and the narrator is unreliable and everything about the story is just pretty messed up. I loved how many twists were incorporated into this story and I didn't really know what was going on the whole time, and I like that I couldn't guess where it was going because so many thrillers nowadays I feel like are so easy to guess, and this one wasn't. It was so well written. I think I might even give this 5 stars. I'm not 100% on what I'm gonna rate it yet, but it feels like a 5-star read to me. It was just so good and I loved it a lot. I loved the topics it explored and made me question what I was thinking, and that's really good for a psychological thriller. I love for it to get into my mind. So I would definitely recommend this book. And now I've completed my first book for Contemporaryathon. Now I think I'm going to pick up a romance. Maybe I will pick up The Right Swipe because I do have this out from the library. It came in just in time before the readathon, So I am really looking forward to getting to it, and it might be a nice palate cleanser after reading a really dark thriller. I'm also going to be making a recipe in the crock pot today, so I think I'm going to show you guys how I make that because it looks really easy and I think a lot of you guys would enjoy it. So I'm gonna go do that and I'll come back and update you later with my reading progress. Okay, so I'm about to start dinner in the crock pot. Tonight we're gonna be having these Nashville spicy chicken sandwiches, which is a brand new recipe to me. I'll leave a link to the Pinterest recipe down below where you can find all of the measurements. So in your crock pot, you will have 2 pounds of chicken. I took 3 chicken breasts and sliced them long ways just to make them cook easier. And you're gonna combine several ingredients and pour it over the chicken and then cook it for 6 hours on low, which sounds super easy. But what you will need is some chicken broth, and then for seasonings, you'll have garlic powder as well as cayenne pepper and paprika, and the last one is chili powder. And then you'll also need some brown sugar. I just use the golden brown kind, and then some melted butter. So I'm gonna mix all of this, put it over the chicken, and then put the lid on my crock pot and let it do all the work for me. Okay, so it's several hours later. It's about 6 p.m. and I am 25% done with the right swipe. And this is about a girl named Rhiannon, and she has her own dating app called Crush, and I think it's kind of like Bumble and Tinder. And her biggest competitor is this company, I forget the name, but it's kind of like Match.com where it's more traditional and less about swiping. And that company has come out with a new campaign where they have a spokesperson, and that spokesperson will be going on all these dates to find his true love. And she's at a party where they announce who the spokesperson is, and it's a guy named Samson. He is a retired NFL player, and it just so happens that she hooked up with him months previously and he ghosted her. So she has a chip on her shoulder in regard to this guy, and you can tell it's going to be their romance. And so far I am not loving it. I don't know if I gel with the writing style, and I don't know if I like our main character Rhiannon. She seems really harsh, and I don't know if I like that about her. Samson seems okay, but we haven't seen a ton of his background yet, so I can't really say how I truly feel. So I'm hoping I like it more when I get further into the story and learn about their romance. So we will see how I like it. I will show you guys my dinner because we're going to be eating that soon, and I will come back and update you later. Okay, so here is the chicken sandwiches that I had made in my crock pot. On each sandwich we have pepper jack, ranch, and pickles, and I just made some steak fries with them. I can tell you that the chicken is extremely spicy, so I'm a little nervous to eat this, but I'll update you guys on dinner when I do my next reading check-in. Okay, so it's about 9 o'clock and I just made myself some tea in one of my favorite fall mugs. I think I got this at like Home Goods or TJ Maxx years ago, and I love it every fall time. And I made a tea by Harney & Sons called Hot Cinnamon Spice, and I add agave nectar and a little bit of whole milk to it, and it is really tasty. I actually am currently sick. My husband was sick all last week, and he ended up giving it to me, so I'm currently sick, which is a real bummer, but this definitely helps my throat and it helps me to feel a little bit better, so I'm enjoying this before bed. But before I get into talking about the book, I have to tell you that that recipe was a complete flop. So my husband really liked it because he is ridiculous and he loves really hot things, so overly spicy things he loves. And this was extremely spicy, and I love spice, so I'm not a wimp or anything when it comes to spice, but this was intense. I took one bite of that chicken and I started hiccuping, so that chicken was inedible. So for any reason you have an itch to make that chicken, definitely cut down on the cayenne pepper. It called for 2 tablespoons, but I think it could have used like 1/4 of that amount, which is crazy that it was so spicy. So that was a major flop. I couldn't eat it. I ended up having peanut butter and jelly for dinner, so that was a flop. So I would not recommend that recipe in case you were kind of curious of my earlier clips. It sucked. And then now into what I've been reading. I am 52% done with The Right Swipe by Alicia Rye. And unfortunately, I am still not really liking it. It's not grabbing my attention. My main issue with this story is I really don't like Rhiannon, who is our main heroine. She is such a cynic and against love, and I just don't like how brash she is. I just don't think she is a very approachable and likable character. And usually with a heroine, even if it's someone who needs a little bit of maturing or she needs to warm up a little bit, I like for the main character to be at least somewhat likable, and there's just something about this lady that I don't like. And the overall plot line is not my favorite. The main character, she wants to purchase a separate dating site, and that's where the hero works. And she has some issues with like her past employer, and there's bad blood there, and I just know there's a lot of drama surrounding all of that. And it's just not really capturing my attention. I'm just not loving it. So I'm hoping that I start to enjoy it more the second half of the novel, but I have this sneaky suspicion that I'm not going to like it. I can just already tell it's not for me. Usually by the halfway mark I can tell if the romance is for me or not, and I can kind of tell it's not. I'm gonna finish it and kind of see how it wraps up because I want to know where I personally lie. So I'll probably finish it tomorrow and I will update you guys then. Good morning, you guys. It is day number 2 of Contemporaryathon and it is about 9 a.m. and Avery will be up any second. But I did wake up pretty early this morning, about 6:30, and I was reading The Right Swipe by Alicia Rye and I just finished it. And unfortunately, this did not get better for me. It actually got worse. I really did not like our heroine, Rhiannon. I found her to be extremely cold and unlikable. I really liked our hero, Samson, but I felt that Rhiannon's story definitely overshadowed his. And so I don't feel like we really got to know him. And this ended up being a major flop for me. And I think Rhiannon ruined the whole thing for me, which made me dislike the rest of the plot. So I ended up giving this one 2 stars. And now I'm going to pick up my next read. I really wanted to read one of my books on my Kindle, but my Kindle does have to charge. So I need to read one of my physical books on my TBR. But the only physical ones I had on my TBR were Beautiful Bastard and 99% Mine. And after reading The Right Swipe and not really loving it, I want one I know I'm going to really enjoy. So I'm going to change up my TBR just a little bit. So instead of reading 99% Mine for yellow on the cover, I think I'm going to read How to Walk Away by Catherine Center. And this one does have yellow on the flowers. And I know it's not the one I said I was going to read, but I'm just really nervous I'm going to hate 99% Mine, and I really don't want to be in a reading slump this week, especially because I'm sick and I need some motivation to read. I recently read Things You Save in a Fire by Catherine Center, and I think I gave it 4.5 stars. It was so good. So I want to read this book, which came out last year. I have really high hopes for it, so I'm going to start on this one and I will update you guys later. Okay, so we are back with dinner round 2. Yesterday was a total flop, but today I'm really excited because it's a recipe I've made before and it is one of my favorites. And that is a honey salsa verde chicken, and you put it in tacos. You could do enchiladas, you could do really whatever, but I personally do it in soft tacos. And I already have all my ingredients in here, but I'm just going to kind of quickly go over what I put in there. I will leave the link to the Pinterest recipe down below where you can get all the exact measurements. What you'll need is 3 chicken breasts cut in half, and I put them in my crock pot. And then you want to kind of rub a little bit of olive oil onto the breasts. So you can do it before or after you put it in there. And then you will need honey as well as a cup of verde salsa. I have the paste kind, and that is half a jar because this is 16 ounces. You will need lime juice. You'll need half a cup, so I would recommend doing a bottled versus fresh just because that would require a lot of limes. And then for seasonings, you'll need pepper and salt, also garlic powder, onion powder, chili powder. Mine is empty now. And then the last one is smoked paprika. This is a little bit more difficult to find. I found it at Target. You could probably find it at Whole Foods or something like that as well. But those are all the ingredients. You put it in your crock pot, and I'm doing it on low for about 6 hours, but you could do it on high for like 3. And it does take a little bit less time when I do the chicken breast in half, but this turns out really good, so I will show you how it looks when we have dinner. Okay, so it's about 5 p.m. and I've made some progress in How to Walk Away by Catherine Center. I am about halfway. The book is a little over 300 pages, like 303 or something, and I'm on page 156. And this is a really fast read. I would have been further into the book if I wasn't out today. I was out running some errands with Avery and I've just been a little bit busy, but I finally got a chance to sit down and make some progress in this, and I'm really enjoying it so far, which I'm not surprised because I loved her most recent novel, Things You Save in a Fire. This one is about a woman named Margaret who she goes up into an airplane with her boyfriend, and and he's not quite certified, and they get in an accident while they're in the air. And right before they get in the accident, he had proposed to her, so it's both the best and worst day of her life. And her fiance comes out completely unharmed from the accident, whereas Margaret, she is really injured. She has some really severe burns, and she can't move the bottoms of her legs, and so her prognosis is pretty bleak, and it's all due to her fiance's kind of carelessness and putting her at risk. And so this is definitely a very heavy contemporary read, and I'm really liking it. So we're seeing Margaret in the hospital, and she has this PT guy she works with named Ian, and he seems like a real grouch, and they kind of get each other, and he's there for her and vice versa. And so you can tell there's going to be a romance with him, and I'm really, really liking it. This one had me crying within the first like 30 pages. It is just a really emotional, hard-hitting topic, and I'm really liking it. So I can't wait to finish it. I think I'll probably finish it either tonight or early tomorrow. So once my dinner is ready in the crock pot, I'm going to show all of that to you guys. I can already tell it's just going to be amazing. And then when I make more progress in my book, I will come and do a reading update later. Okay, so this is how the tacos turned out. I topped them with cheese and sour cream and avocado. It's not necessary to add sauce because there's a ton of sauce in the crock pot, but these are absolutely delicious. I haven't tried mine yet, but I just know they are going to be so good because I've made this before, and it would be really good with like a squeeze of lime on top if you have fresh limes. This is a really good Mexican inspired dish if you don't want heat, because this is definitely on the milder side, but it is so tasty and one of my favorite ways to make chicken. So if you're curious what the chicken looks like, I ended up shredding it, and it's in the remainder of the sauce. And so we definitely have a lot of leftovers, and we'll have it probably for lunch tomorrow. So yeah, I will leave the link to the recipe below. You guys should definitely check it out. Okay, so it's the next morning. It is a little bit before noon on day number 3 of Contemporaryathon. Last night I didn't get a chance to update you guys again. By the time I could have, Avery was asleep and I was really tired, so I just went to bed. But I did end up finishing How to Walk Away by Catherine Center last night. I don't have my copy upstairs with me. It is downstairs, so I'll just insert a picture. Last time I talked about it, I was halfway done, and I ended up breezing through this. It was such a fast read. I couldn't put it down, and I ended up giving this one 5 stars. It emotionally impacted me so much, and I loved Catherine Center's storytelling. Catherine Center did a really good job of melding like more serious topics with a little more lighthearted humor, and I really loved this, and I couldn't recommend it more. So I'm really happy I switched up my TBR and picked this one up. And then this morning I ended up picking up the Bromance Book Club, and right now I'm 28% through it. It is a really quick read, and I'm enjoying it so far. It's about a pro baseball player named Gavin, and recently his wife has decided she wants to get a divorce. They have twin daughters, and they've been married for about 3 years, and his wife no longer wants to be married to him, and he's really struggling with this reality, and he wants her back, but she wants nothing to do with him. So some of Gavin's friends have this club, and they invite him to join it, and it is a book club where they read women's romance novels in order to better understand women and to save their marriages and things like that. So they invite Gavin to join so he can win his wife back, and he's really hesitant, but he will do anything to win his wife back. So he decides to join, and he's reading a romance novel, and that's kind of where we're at so far. I didn't really know what this was about when I picked it up. I thought it would be pretty lighthearted based on the cover, but it's actually a lot more serious than I was expecting, which isn't a bad thing. I really do like it. So I'm looking forward to seeing where this story goes. When I get some more reading in, I will come back and update you later. Okay, so it's definitely many hours later. It is almost 11 o'clock, and I am getting ready for bed. I am so exhausted. I just got back from book club a little while ago, and I had a really good time. We discussed The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, which was one of my favorite books last year, and I didn't have time to reread it before this discussion, but that's okay. I still had a really good time hosting these ladies, and it was a lot of fun, but I'm really tired, and I only made it to about halfway through the Bromance Book Club. I don't think I'll read any more tonight. I'm so tired, so I'm probably just going to go to bed. But I wanted to update you guys and let you know I've been enjoying the Bromance Book Club. It is really good so far. I really do like the 2 main characters, and so far I don't really have any issues with the book. I'm really looking forward to seeing where it goes. So tomorrow I'm going to get some more reading in, and I will update you guys then.